The Speedway Classic happened at Bristol this weekend, and it was a bit of a disaster. I also went to it, so we're going to talk about it. William Byron wins in Iowa. Was it a good race? We're going to recap it and talk about the points coming out of Iowa. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. We're going to get right into it because I went to the Speedway Classic on Saturday at Bristol Motor Speedway, and never once in my life did I think I would end up in a Fyre Fest situation, but turns out I did in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. Now, let me preface this by saying my time was actually pretty enjoyable there. I didn't experience the disaster for the most part that everybody else did, but I can certainly tell you there was a disaster that brewed. It was building up the entire night. Get into the racetrack. We go to the fan zone immediately, crest the hill, look down into the fan zone area. This huge area that they talked about and boast about how big this fan zone is going to be. It was nuts to butts the entire time. That was about 3:30 in the afternoon. Just lines going everywhere. It's like a game of Snake, except they're all crossing over each other, so they all failed and lost the game. Merch trailers were about an hour-long wait anywhere you wanted to go there. Anything you wanted to do is basically going to be an hour wait. You want to ride the Ferris wheel? That's going to be an easy hour for sure. Getting food, not going to be the easiest thing unless you wanted an acai bowl, which for the most part makes total sense, right? We're in Tennessee. I can't imagine acai bowls that popular. Also, pronouncing acai is probably a difficulty for some of the fans that were there. At least it wasn't. If it was a NASCAR race, I actually would have been like, yeah, there's no chance most of these guys are naming off whatever an acai bowl is. But we get into the racetrack. We were able to get food easy. We got hot dogs, we got pizzas, we got sodas, all of that before the concert started. That was easy. Realized that we were going to have a bit of an issue when we went to go get peanuts. Because it's a baseball game, you want peanuts, right? The only place that sold peanuts was the Food City self-service area. And that was about an hour-long wait to get through there because it was moving at a glacial pace. Then I walked around to the backstretch of the racetrack. My seats were on the front stretch, on the third baseline. Walk around to the backstretch. That's when I realized that this is bad. Because remember I said it was nuts to butts outside? It was the same thing inside, and people were swarming concession stands like it was World War Z. It was insane. So managed to migrate around, get back to our seats and everything like that. Watch the concert. Garth Brooks, fantastic. I had no idea he was married to Faith Hill. I also didn't know that she was the Monday Night Football theme song lady. So it was a learning experience for myself. They brought Pitbull out. He was out there for a total of maybe 45 seconds. Not even sure why they promoted him because, again, he was not out there very long whatsoever. And then they get into the pregame. Pregame stuff is great. They do the pit stop thing when they announce drivers. They take the drivers around in the Silverados or the players around the Silverados like they're drivers. It was cool. It was a cool little activation, cool pregame ceremony. Awesome. Got the good flyover. You got fireworks. They did the placard sign thing down in turns 1 and 2 like they used to do with NASCAR races. Like, it was cool. All around, great time. We watched the first 3 outs, Braves 1, 2, 3 out of the inning. Then the Reds come up and it torrential downpours. So we already went through the first 2-hour rain delay. Now we have a second 2-hour or, however long rain delay. But it was that first rain delay that screwed everything up. Because when fans are standing down there, the game's supposed to start at 7:24 was first pitch. We didn't get a first pitch until about 9:40 after that. So like 2 hours and 20-ish minute rain delay. People are hungry. People want to buy things. People went insane. The lines for food, absolutely wild. People were cheering when they started to get food. Drinks, impossible to get. They ran out of things. Now, remember when I said I didn't really experience it? Because I had already ate earlier in the night, so I didn't need to eat again. It was wild, though. They were serving hot dogs without buns. I don't know how you order 100,000 hot dogs and not 100,000 buns. The dog team did not talk to the bun team. They're just people walking around with dogs just in their hand. Whatever. They sold nachos without cheese. So people were just buying tortilla chips at full price, getting served that, and then being like, we ain't got no cheese. Okay. Then maybe don't sell it to them. I don't know. If you wanted a bowl of beans, you could get that. Bush apparently came plenty prepared with beans. They ran out of beer in some sections. They ran out of liquor in some sections. The vending machines were running out of soda. It was a disaster from top to bottom. There was no merch to be had. People were upset. People were angry. People were not happy whatsoever. When that second rain delay hit, I made the executive decision, like, listen, we already got soaked once. Shorts, went all the way through to my boxers, just miserable. Feet are wet. The girls, skirts, wet, everything like that. Okay. We're going to go out to the car, get our hands stamped. If it gets done raining, then we'll come back in. Get out to the car. Pouring, just absolutely pouring. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. We're going to go to the hotel. There's no way they're going to play this. They're going to bang it. At the very least. As we're rolling out, they announced that they're going to postpone the game until Sunday. Genius move by us. We actually breezed right out. We drove out of Lot E, up onto the road, got on the highway, and we were off to Knoxville really quickly. Like, we got into our hotel probably about, 11:45-ish or so, and crashed out. Like, it was not bad for us. But then I read other people's being like, oh, we were in traffic for 2.5, 3 hours trying to get out of the racetrack. Not a, police officer in sight. Nobody trying to run traffic. Just absolute chaos, anarchy. And it was just a major drop of the ball by Major League Baseball. It just is what it is. When they didn't let fans bring in food, bring in coolers, like they typically do at a NASCAR race, that's when you were doomed. You were doomed from the beginning because they staffed it and bought, concessions at the amount that you would normally do for a NASCAR race, right? Not taking into account that people aren't bringing food in. People aren't bringing drinks in like you can at a NASCAR race. So they did all of this. And then they were shocked to find out that people ate and drank everything. And I saw people attacking the racetrack, people attacking everything like that. This is on Major League Baseball, and this is on SMI. It's also on whoever the concession, dealer is as well. Because, listen, NASCAR and Daytona had another 2-hour rain delay earlier this year for the Daytona 500. And guess what didn't happen? They did not run out of food. They didn't run out of beer. They didn't run out of drinks. They came prepared. They came staffed for it. Bristol did not. And it was bad all around. Like I said, I enjoyed my time. I thought the visual of the racetrack looked really cool. I loved the pregame festivities, all of that. Like the concert, the stage of the concert only being aimed at like 17 people was dumb. I didn't really understand that at all. That should have been certainly planned out better. But everything else I thought was pretty good until you wanted to buy food. And I see people being like, what'd you expect from a big event like this? I don't think it's a wild concept, an unreasonable ask to think that they're going to have enough food for everybody to buy. I don't think that's a crazy thing to assume. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm the crazy person. But the people being like, oh yeah, how'd you not know this was going to happen? I don't know, dude, because I've been to bigger events than this. I've been to the Indianapolis 500 multiple times. Guess what's never happened with 300,000 people there? Them running out of food and being like, yeah, here's just a hot dog because we don't have buns anymore. What? What are we even doing here? So, yeah, major drop of the ball. They play it on Sunday. Obviously, got an email Sunday morning. Hey, you can bring in a soft-sided cooler now. Why? Because they don't have any food there. You can bring your own food in. I didn't go on Sunday. We had to get back to Cincinnati. And honestly, the whole thing just kind of bummed me out in a sense. But like I said, I thought the visual on Sunday was really cool. I stopped and got merch, in Cincinnati before we went down because I knew it was going to be a bit of a disaster. Overall, visually, it looked really awesome. That's about where it ends at. I enjoyed all the people I went with. I thought that was a great time. But like I said, logistically, it could have been operated better for sure. Not sure they're going to do it next year. Can't imagine they're going to make a lot of money out of this, having to go 2 days now with it. But ultimately, the Braves came out on top, a 4-2 victory in a game that will, unfortunately, probably not be forgotten, but probably should be forgotten for the most part. So, whatever. It's a Speedway Classic. If they have it again, I would proceed with caution, more than likely. Moving into the race on Sunday, William Byron goes to victory lane in Iowa. Ryan Blaney had 80 friends and family there, but that didn't matter because last year's second place finisher is now this year's first place finisher, that being William Byron. From the start, though, was this a good race? I'm going to give this race an 80. I thought it was fine. I thought this was actually a really good race at Iowa. You had multiple different strategies. You had passing an on-track green flag pass for the lead. Crazy. What a wild concept after last week at the Brickyard 400. Overall, though, I thought this race was fine. I thought it was pretty enjoyable, especially by like short track standards with the Gen 7 car. It's also the reason why I think that we need to be running the short track package at places like Dover and at Bristol. Stop running the intermediate package because Iowa raced really well on Sunday. So we'll get into it real quick here. Stage number 1 featured no natural cautions, but William Byron blasted off to an early lead. Brad Keselowski reeled him in late like it was a Bassmaster Classic. Passes him, wins stage number 1. Great. That's fantastic for Brad. He and Jeremy Bullins definitely needed that one. In stage number 3, the number 1 pit stop came in clutch for Chase Briscoe, but then we heard a couple of brake issues, one from Tyler Reddick, who said his brakes were chattering. Turns out they were basically cooling their brakes too well, so that was an interesting problem that you don't typically see happening. On the other side, William Byron kept talking about his brake pedals getting long. Basically, he was pushing it and it was getting further and further down, closer to the floor. Even when he was pumping it, it was still going long, which is bad. If you ever pumped brakes before, the idea of pumping the brakes is to hopefully build up pressure to stiffen that brake pedal. And if that's not happening, typically that's a bad sign. But for William Byron, obviously, he was able to ride that out. Keselowski caught Briscoe, passes him in stage number 2. Then we had a caution come out. Shane Van Gisbergen lost it all by himself. He brings out the first natural caution of the day. Field flipped from there. And then it started to get real weird. We had a Cody Ware caution. Cody Ware caution. And then we had NBC going triple box. That never happens, right? Fox could never think about doing a triple box. 3 cameras operating at the same time. How do you even keep track of such a thing? I can't imagine Fox trying to deal with triplets, let alone twins at times. And there's no way they could handle a triple box camera. Then we had Ty Dillon. He brings out the second natural caution of the day, 3rd caution overall. Todd Gillen gets loose, kind of tags the 10 of Ty Dillon. Unfortunately for Ty, that would not be the first time, the only caution that he was involved in. But Keselowski went on to sweep the stages. First time he's swept stages in 6 years. He and Jeremy Bullins finally clicking. It seems like they are finally getting it together. Then in stage number 3, we had a lot of cautions. Honestly, my notes just say caution, 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 caution. Started off with Denny Hamlin getting spun out 4 wide, kind of spun himself out to not also wreck AJ Allmendinger. Oh, hang on a second. Let's revert back to the end of stage number 2 real quick. On the last lap of the stage, Carson Hocevar spins out. And in very un-Carson Hocevar-like fashion, he got it rolling again and didn't bring out the caution. But did say, I'm tired of racing around all these effing idiots back here. And I'm not sure if he owns a mirror at times. But he said it, so I guess we're going to move on. Stage number 3, like I said, Denny Hamlin spins out 4 wide middle. Then we have a caution for Zane Smith. How did Zane Smith wreck? Oh, Carson Hocevar ran into him, who said he's tired of racing around idiots, and then just immediately turned around and just sent the 38. The 38's crew chief came down and was yelling at Hocevar after the race. I believe maybe called him an R word as well. That's probably not going to go over too well with NASCAR. Crew chief of the 38 is a fiery guy, so I'm trying to fight on pit road at the Chicago street race as well. So dude gets jacked up over a lot of things. Then we have Eric Jones. He spins out on the front stretch. We have Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell. They spin out. SVG goes around again. Ty Dillon again. And then Todd Gillen loses the passenger side window out of his car. That brings out our 12th caution of the day. 12 cautions for 72 laps on Sunday. At one point, there's like 5 different strategies happening in stage number 3 because people are wondering how far they can stretch fuel. Tires didn't really matter that much, but people are taking tires, they're taking fuel. They're like, all right, we're good to go to the end now. And William Byron pitted with 144 laps to go and said, screw it, we're going to go for it. Typical Iowa football fashion. Iowa football is not known for taking risks, but they are known for going super conservative, and that's what William Byron had to do in this final run, was go super conservative with the fuel. And in typical Iowa football fashion, they're not going to throw it deep, they're not going to do it flashy, they're going to run it up the middle, they're going to get down, run clock, kick a field goal, win the race, or game. William Byron did just that. He lifted at the start-finish line. He coasted through the corners. He did nothing flashy whatsoever. He made fuel, and he goes on to win the race. Lives 141 laps on the day, picks up his second victory of the year, and takes over the regular season points lead once again after having a pretty brutal stretch of races. His second win of the year, which probably should have been like his 4th, maybe even 5th race win of the year, based off of how well he's run in other races so far. But he made fuel like he was Scott Dixon, ran out doing his burnout. And I know a lot of people are upset being like, they never run out of fuel. Listen, William Byron literally ran out of fuel last weekend at the Brickyard 400, lost a top 5 finish because of it. Yeah, NBC put up the thing with like 9 laps to go. They said he only had 3% of fuel left. That's just a guesstimation by them. They didn't know. Even if you listen to Rudy Fugle, he was telling William Byron, you got to back it up further. You got to back it up further. The man was lifting at the start-finish line, and Rudy Fugle's like, you got to back it up more. How are we going to back it up more, Rudy? I don't understand right now. What are we going to do? Drive for 20 feet off the corner and just lift and coast 3/4 of the way down the front stretch? Byron made it happen. People are also upset that, Chase Briscoe, Brad Keselowski didn't get there and try to pass him. Oh, they couldn't pass him. Well, they're also saving fuel on their own here. They were racing each other. Ryan Blaney catches them on fresher tires. Brad starts to race him. That ruined the chance of Blaney getting up there, although Blaney getting up there was only ever going to happen in the most utopian scenario out there, regardless of what Steve said. Steve Letarte actually had a hilarious moment on Sunday where he was like, I believe everybody's coming to pit road this time. It makes too much sense to not come right now. One car came down pit road, and it's like, dang it. Overall, I thought the broadcast was decent on Sunday. The only thing I'll take away from the broadcast and say this, I felt like the Hocevar nickname thing was a little bit forced. The Hurricane Hocevar that Lee Diffie said like a dozen times, it felt like, yeah, we get it. Hocevar's a bit like a hurricane. He comes in unannounced, destroys things, leaves without apologizing. Got it. It just felt like it was being really forced. Thought up in a boardroom in Connecticut, and they're like, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to brand this. We haven't had a chance to talk about him this year. He's been the most polarizing driver. Let's talk about it now. And to me, it didn't work. But if fans like it, then go for it. But some of these fans are also the same people that call him the next Dale Earnhardt, the new Intimidator, despite having never won a Cup Series race or having won an Xfinity Series race. But okay, whatever. That's the only thing I really didn't like from the broadcast overall. So, yeah, it was a fine race. I actually enjoyed the race for the most part. Really good racing kind of throughout the pack and everything like that. But overall, like, Iowa has delivered, I would say, its first 2 years on the schedule. Fans showed up for it. I know they kept saying sold out crowd. Keep in mind, it's like 30,000 people. There were still over double that at the Brickyard last weekend, but people are enamored with the word sold out, despite what the number actually is for it. But overall, I thought it was a decent race in Iowa. Getting into our top 10 real quick, you had William Byron picking up the win, Chase Briscoe coming home in second, Brad Keselowski in third, Ryan Blaney in fourth. Ryan Preece gets a top 5 finish, helped him out a lot in the points as well. Bubba Wallace, he drove from being 2 laps down with 80 laps to go all the way up to a 6th place finish. Really good rebound for him after the day. It kind of looked like he was flirting around in the teens a little bit, the lower half of that. Then you have Alex Bowman in 7th, Carson Hocevar in 8th, Joey Logano 9th, and Austin Dillon in 10th. Ross Chastain came home 11th. Overall, this race was something. I'll give it that. It had a lot going on for it, but we also have to talk about the points situation as well, because some people made some big time gains. I shouldn't really say big time gains, but Ryan Preece gained about 19 points on Sunday over Chris Buescher, my apologies. Preece is now 23 points below the cutoff line. Kyle Busch 73 points below. Ty Gibbs 87. AJ Allmendinger 118 points below. Tyler Reddick is 122 points to the good. He lost like 17 on Sunday. Alex Bowman is 63 points to the good. He stayed even, did not gain, did not lose for him. And Josh Berry locks himself into the playoffs. Nobody can knock him out now. Even if we have 3 new winners, there's just 3 spots left in the playoffs. So he will be racing for a championship starting at the Southern 500 at the end of this month. Yeah. Dang, we're getting there very, very quickly. So overall, like I said, I enjoyed the race. I thought Iowa was a pretty fun weekend. I thought the ARCA race was good. The Xfinity race, from what I saw of it, seemed to be pretty entertaining as well. Does it deserve a spot on the calendar next year? Yeah, I'd say it probably does. But yeah, let me know in the comments. If you went to the Speedway Classic, if you watched on TV, would you go again? Because it was certainly a time. And what your thoughts on Iowa were as well. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.